Thank you, Duncan. It's a pleasure to be asked by TOFS to chair this session. I think looking at the programme, it's truly excellent, and I hope that both you as parents and families, and indeed us as specialists, learn a lot from today. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Diane Stevens.
We are a self-help group, and we started off in 1982 by a group of parents who, probably like yourselves, found yourselves with a beautiful little baby with a very difficult to pronounce condition that they had never heard of, and no one else seemed to have ever heard of either. So they set about helping to support each other by setting up a self-help group, and obviously they did a really good job, because 35 years later we're still here.
And then I'm going to talk about some recent work that I've been doing in collaboration with TOFS, which I'm quite excited about actually, and talk about some future plans to do with that. So I think it's such a major thing that you're asked to deal with when your baby is born and diagnosed with esophageal atresia or tracheo-esophageal fistula. And it takes quite a while for the dust from all of that to settle. But then often you're left with the question of why. And to be honest, we have some answers.
So I have learned a lot from our kids and from parents. So I think I heard the talk from the physio session as well, and that was amazing. And I think that she has already done half of my talk. So that makes my job really easy. And so we can have a revision now. So what I'm kind of, in next 20 minutes or so, I'll speak, and then next 10 minutes we can ask questions.
And that depends on how big the gap is between the esophagus, whether it's a very short gap and they can repair the esophagus together, or whether it's a longer gap and they have to use the stomach or even the colon to join that gap. And that makes much more importance to my world.
What can we do? Well, we can recommend lifestyle changes, so chewing your food well, drinking with food. If something gets stuck, use fizzy drinks, etc. Generally, my understanding is from parents that children learn this on their own. It's a subconscious thing. As they grow up from being a baby, they learn they have to chew well, they learn they have to drink with their meals.
So, Cameron, why don't you kick us off, and our other speaker is en route, who's an adult upper GI surgeon. So the floor is yours, okay? You're very welcome.
I've put some figures in about how rare TOF is and the average list size. So actually, the normal GP might not see a TOF birth or child in their practice for over 30 years, so a whole career. If you can identify a doctor who's got a bit of surgical experience or who's had some pediatric experience, you will more than likely get a better relationship and a better understanding of your condition, because they've seen the tip of the iceberg.
When I began as a consultant at Alder Hey back in the 1990s, one of my now retired colleagues set up the multidisciplinary esophageal atresia clinic service, which was a joint service run with the respiratory physicians, dietitians and physiotherapists, because he and the respiratory physicians recognized that there was this enormous pool of patients who were basically esophageal atresia cripples.